Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome, welcome. Got people
Yes,
joining
we are
still.
here.
So while we're waiting for everybody, we're going to give everybody a minute here. Just type in the chat if you can hear us and where you're calling in from and where you are in your writing journey. Like are you writing your first book or have you published a few of them, published multiple? Let us know.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable for our conversation, especially to know where people are in their publishing journeys.
Yeah. So I'll introduce Evan here in a minute. He's going to be soothing you with his marketing. I don't know where I was going with that, but
With my dulcet tones.
cool. North Carolina, plotting your first novel. Everybody can hear us, it looks like. Arkansas. Okay, that's not too far from me. I'm in Oklahoma, so that is
Ooh,
not too far away.
my mom is in Arkansas now, in the Washita Forest
Oh,
or Washita. One of the you pronounce it some way.
I'm sure Paul Rogers from Arkansas can tell us how. Oh no, I thought somebody else said something else. Okay, so somebody said first book out next month. Congratulations, that's awesome. From Ireland. Thanks for joining us.
Super exciting.
Washington State, working on a sci-fi series. Okay, we're going to get started to be respectful of everybody's time here. So let me just double check the recording is going. Yep, looks like it. Okay, so with that, I just want to introduce to you guys Evan Gow from StoryOrigin. I'm going to let him introduce himself more, but I've known him for a couple years, 3 or 4 years by now. We chat at conferences and hang out and have dinner sometime. And he's an awesome guy and he knows a bunch about marketing and stuff. So I'm going to have him start by introducing himself and telling us what made him want to build StoryOrigin. So go for it, Evan.
Yeah. So as mentioned, my name is Evan. I'm the founder and indie developer of StoryOrigin, which is a marketing platform for authors to help you build your mailing list, find reviewers, increase sales, etc. I s- I see Bruce here says Evan is very sharp. Thank you, Bruce. I know Bruce, we've exchanged a couple of emails. He uses StoryOrigin. He can, I'm sure, pop some of his experiences in the chat as we're talking too. But yeah, I got started with building StoryOrigin because I used to write short stories back in high school, got interested in tech and entrepreneurship in college, and then wanted to build something for authors and also get back into writing. So worked a few years, and then at some point I decided now's the time to do it. And went and I talked to a bunch of authors, and I heard I use this service for building my mailing list, another service for finding reviewers, another service to create universal book links, some combination of Facebook groups and Google Forms to arrange newsletter swaps, some combination of email, Word docs or Google Docs, plus Google Forms to get feedback on beta copies. They had spreadsheets for tracking their word count, spreadsheet for distributing audiobook promo. Because I was okay.
That
I
sounds
got
like a nightmare.
I got it. I see the problem here. You have 8 different services, 5 different spreadsheets. You're constantly doing this context switching between trying to stay focused on building an entire world and story and characters while at the same time switching between all of these various sort of marketing tasks and spreadsheets and services and remembering, okay, if I wanted to do that, then I need to go to this website and use this login and that password. Okay, I'm going to build something that does it all in one place. And so you don't have to do all this context switching all the time and just significantly simplify authors' lives so that they have more time to write. And I think had I told you at the time that StoryOrigin was going to be this one-stop shop for authors and it was going to do all this stuff that you had to use all of these different spreadsheets and other services for, you would have said, Evan, I don't believe you. Or if you were being nice, if you probably could have said it a ruder way, but and yeah, so StoryOrigin really has become that sort of one-stop shop for authors to do all of those different things. And now it even
Hello?
helps you with building your own website or even
Okay, who did you say you
sell
are?
direct.
Oh, there we go.
Cameron, I think you can also mute people on your end if you go to the participants view. And then if anyone that forgot to mute their
Oh, okay,
mute on
good.
their
Yeah.
end. Yeah. if you go to the participants view, you can see the little microphone icon. And
Okay, yeah, got it, got it. Perfect. Okay, yeah, I'm muting people here. Sorry
yeah,
about
no
that,
problem.
people.
No
Still
problem.
learning Zoom here.
No
Um,
problem.
So I'm sure we'll hear more about all the little things that the Story Origin can do, which I'm really excited about because I have a lot of questions myself. And as I'm writing my books and finally getting them, maybe not finally, but close, hopefully getting them close to where I can start marketing them, I really want to know for myself what I should be doing and how I should be marketing my books. So can you describe it like as an overview of what the current marketing landscape is for authors?
Yeah. So s- if you look at the marketing landscape, there's essentially three parts that you are really prominent. One is social media, right? You can advertise your book on Twitter or Facebook and build a Facebook page following or build a Twitter following or what have you. But it's become more pay to play where people who ostensibly follow you to see your content, because all of those timelines are now algorithmically driven, even if you have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 followers on whatever social media platform, usually only 1 to 3% of your audience is actually going to see it, even though they are following you to see your content, because social media platforms are all about trying to build engagement and all of this stuff. And so they don't really reward every single piece of content the same way, which makes it
Sure.
more and more difficult. And if you actually want to reach more of your audience, now you can actually pay to boost your posts to your own followers. So it's these platforms that you spend years building a following on, and then they don't actually promote your content to people who are following you, and then ask you to pay to promote the content to the people who are following you to get your content. It's
Ridiculous.
it yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous. And then if you look at advertising platforms like advertising on Amazon or Facebook or wherever else, these ad platforms, they're all bid based. So you're bidding for impressions. And just as more marketers, as more authors bid for the same impressions, everyone there's a fixed number of eyeballs,
Right.
and more dollars are flowing into trying to get in front of all of those people. And so over time, the cost to advertise on those platforms just naturally rise because everyone's trying to outbid each other to get those impressions. And so it just becomes more expensive over time, and it makes it really difficult for authors to be profitable on their advertising strategies. And it is especially difficult if you're an author and you only have, let's say, one book out, and you're competing for those impressions against an author that has a 4, 5, 6 book series out. They know when they have a 6 book series, they can advertise that first book in their series for free
Sure.
and then lose $5 on acquiring that reader, spend $5 on getting that person to buy that book or download that book from them, because once they are reading into the series, they know X percentage are going to read onto book 2 or book 3, book 4, etc. in that series. And so at the end of the day, that reader might be worth 40, 50, $60 per that series. And so they're willing to lose $5 on that first sale or however much, because they're making 10 times that amount if the reader reads through the whole series. Versus an author that only has 1 or 2 books out, you it's very difficult to be profitable on the sale of an individual book on those advertising platforms, right? Just because everyone's outbidding each other. So that's not to say advertising platforms do not work or are not good. They are great. They're just not great for everyone, because you have to really try to manage those costs against what your potential profit could be.
Sure. So you talked about like social media and advertising. What about like email lists?
So that's exactly the solution, right? It's like this archaic thing in terms of technology at this point, right? Like it's the oldest real sort of network is email. And it is great because it's not owned or controlled by any individual company, right? There's no owner of all of the different email systems, right? So
Right.
I can send you an email, and more than likely it's just going to show up in your inbox, and you'll see that email and you'll read it if you want to, right? So
Yeah.
when most authors have an email list, and they might have 100 or 500 or 1,000 people on that mailing list, when you send out that email to everyone on your mailing list, you'll usually get open rates of around 30 to 40%, which when you're comparing that with social media, it's more like 1 to 3% if for someone to see a Facebook post. And then those Facebook posts or Twitter posts or TikToks or whatever, it's a little bit more difficult to build relationships with your audience on those platforms that feels more one-to-one. With email, because those emails are sent out to each individual separately, you can really build a one-on-one relationship with each of your readers. And I know for me personally, having a mailing list for StoryOrigin where, authors on StoryOrigin get my newsletters, I get emails from authors all the time, and I have a real relationship with my audience. And it is extremely valuable for authors to have and build those individual relationships with their readers as well, because ultimately those readers can help you get reviews, which is the other part of the sort of marketing landscape that you have to think about. Is when you are an author, you are one of the really key aspects to selling a product online, whether that's a book or what have you, is getting reviews. And it is really difficult to get reviews on things on the internet just in general. But when you have that direct relationship with your audience, it is so much easier to get reviews because people are just more willing to help out someone that they feel like they have a personal connection with. And when you are building those connections with your audience, you can then use that mailing list to find your potential champions, people that would leave reviews for your books when you have a new release, or they might become beta readers for you when you've got an early manuscript, or they might join your street team and post about your new release on their own social media. So yeah, just email is this like archaic technology at this point, right? But it is the best way still to build real relationships with your audience.
So that is the most valuable marketing channel for authors, it sounds like.
It is what I would consider the most valuable marketing channel. And the other thing to add there is because it provides a direct point of contact with your audience. When you're looking at advertising platforms or what have you, when you have a new release, every time you have a new release, you need to go back to the well, right? You have to pay them more money to advertise that new release. You can't just say, like you can with a newsletter or with an email list, with an email list, you just send out another email and say, "Hey, everybody, I've got a new release." Like, you don't need to pay extra to do that. Uh, you don't need to go
Right.
and do all this complicated, like, bidding strategy, targeting, ads dashboard sort of stuff.
Right.
You just design and send a newsletter saying, "Hey, everyone, I've got a new release. You can go buy it here." And yeah,
It's just like
significantly.
printing money.
If only, yeah. My son says when you ask him what does daddy do, daddy makes money. That's my job, apparently. I'm not a programmer. I don't own a
Yeah.
business. I make money is what I do.
I just thought about that the way a kid would hear that. I've never thought about that before, but that's so
It's accurate.
yeah, that is super funny. Okay, so email is the most valuable thing that writers can do. So how do authors set up a newsletter? And is there anything else that they need to set up to build an author platform?
Yeah. So you're gonna want to use an email service provider like MailerLite or MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or ConvertKit or SendFox or Author Email. There's a whole lot of different platforms out there. All these platforms they're for designing and sending newsletters. And the reason that you would want to use a platform instead of just sending it just from your normal Gmail or your normal Yahoo outbox is that when you're sending newsletters, you need to make it easy for people to unsubscribe. So you need to have an unsubscribe link, and you want to have an easy way to manage that list of people that have signed up and have unsubscribed. And you want to be able to look at analytics about what your open rates and click rates are and all
Mm.
of that stuff. And you want to comply with various data regulations around removing customers' information and all of that stuff. And so using an email service provider like MailerLite or what have you makes that really simple. And you can't really comply with those various regulations or do any of the other stuff I was talking about if you're just sending emails out from your normal
Yeah.
Gmail or Yahoo account.
Yeah. So is
So
there, you listed a bunch of them. Is there one that you recommend for authors that's really easy and good to use?
I would say MailerLite is usually a good one to start with because they've got a fairly generous free tier. You can set up welcome sequence automations, and you can grow up to, I think, 1,000 people on your mailing list uh, on the free tier. So MailerLite is the one that I would recommend authors check out as a good starting point. Um, and a lot of authors also ask me is like, when I'm building a newsletter, do I need to have a website first? And the answer is no, you don't have to have a website before you start building a mailing list. You can start building a mailing list. I know authors that make six figures that do not have website. You do
You're
not
serious?
need, yes, I'm serious. Yeah, I met an author at a conference last year, and she was like, I make six figures, but I don't have a website. Like, I spent all this like time and energy and effort into building a website, and then it crashed, and I didn't want to go through all the effort of rebuilding it, and
So
I
just
never
left it,
really
huh?
saw it have any effect on my sales personally. And I was like, that makes sense. And it can be really challenging when you're using Wix or WordPress or Squarespace or what have you when you're building a website. It's really great to have a website, though. To be clear, I recommend having a website, but you want to just make it as simple as possible. Your website does not need to be some complicated mess of a million different pages with tons of links and all this stuff. You can have a very simple, just one page author website that just lists all of your books and then has a nice little bio about yourself.
Just
And
that's
that's mostly what readers want, right? Is, oh, I love this author. I want to see what their other books are. And they just want a list of what all of your books are. And so you don't want to hide all of those books on different tabs with, you have to click here and then click there to go to this to find each separate series and all that stuff. I recommend just having it all laid out on one page. And so that's what I actually did with StoryOrigin. I created a website builder. So you can also build your website with StoryOrigin, and you can lay out a very simple author website that just has all of your books on it and then has a nice little bio. And yeah, I'd be happy to do a quick little demo of it as well if you'd like me to, of
yeah,
what it looks like.
yeah, if you're willing, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't know that StoryOrigin does that actually. Looking around for, oh, let me allow you to share your screen there. I've been looking around for something that will build author websites easily for me because I wasn't sure about that. Do I need one? I published a few books, but it's been a few years. And so I didn't think
right.
I didn't know what to do. And I didn't like getting back into it. I don't want to spend the time making a website yet before I'm even like selling books. And so I've been looking for
Exactly.
this, honestly. So this is awesome. I didn't realize this will do it.
Yeah. So with StoryOrigin's website builder, it essentially, you can take all the pages that you create on StoryOrigin, like your reader magnets, your universal book links, your direct sales pages, your review copies. You can host those all on your own custom domain, whatever you want that to be. All of my examples, I always use Sherlock Holmes. I bought the domain www.readsherlockholmes.com. And so here's my StoryOrigin website. It's got my reader magnet. So when people click here, they can see that this is a free book, get the download, they put in their name, put in their email address. I can hook up this reader magnet page to my email service provider so that when someone signs up to my reader magnet on StoryOrigin, their name and email address is sent directly to my email service provider, whether that's MailerLite or MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or ConvertKit, etc. StoryOrigin integrates with 9 different email service providers. If you're using an email service provider that StoryOrigin doesn't integrate with, that's totally fine. You can always just download a CSV of the signups that you've gotten to your reader magnet through StoryOrigin and just manually upload that CSV to your email service provider. I do it all the time for stuff like this Zoom session where people are registering for a Zoom session and I want to send out a replay link. You just download the CSV from Zoom, upload it to your email service provider, send out the replay link, and then I will just delete that list after I send out the replay link. But
Before you
yeah,
go any further, you've mentioned the word or the phrase reader magnet a couple times now.
yes.
Can you explain that for people that don't know what that is?
Yeah, sure. So a reader magnet is usually a free story that you give out to readers when they sign up to your mailing list. It's one of the first questions you ask yourself when you're building a mailing list is like, why would someone want to sign up to my mailing list? And really, you want to have a good reason for them to sign up to your mailing list. And what are readers looking for? Well, they're looking for stories. So give them something free when they sign up to your mailing list, and that can entice people to get on your mailing list.
Is
And
that the best way to
for
get people? Or I know I think I know the answer to this already, but is that the best way to get people? And are there other ways that you found to get people on their newsletter, author's newsletter? So
you can just have a simple sign up form on your email service provider that just says sign up to your mailing list without any sort of enticement at all. And for your diehard fans who really love you, they will just sign up to your mailing list because they want to hear about your new releases or what have you. But it's very difficult to is it is a much it's not nearly as enticing to most readers to get on a mailing list unless you've got something like a carrot to dangle in front of them. And so, yeah, I recommend using a story. And it depends on whether you're a fiction author or a nonfiction author. Now, if you're a fiction author, I usually recommend using a prequel short story to your book or your series as a reader magnet. And then or you could use like an anthology of short stories, or you could use a side story or an extended epilogue, etc. I recommend a prequel short story because it works for readers who both have and have not read book 1 in your series. Readers that really loved might have bought book 1 through Amazon or elsewhere and said, I really love these characters, love this universe, want to explore this more. That prequel is going to be just as enticing to them as those readers who are saying, I want to find a new author and I'm not really sure whether or not I'm going to this author, but I'll pick up this free story from them, read it, and if I really like this prequel, then I'll maybe buy book 1 in their series.
you're already
Um,
like warmed for book one. Yeah, interesting.
exactly.
That's
And
smart.
so that's why I recommend that prequel short story is because a acts as a really good hook into getting them to read the follow-up book. Now, that being said, I always preface this with these are recommendations, not roadblocks, right? If it's going to take you 3 months to write that prequel and get it edited and then put together a book cover for it and all this stuff, and it's going to take you a lot longer to do all of that. And what you have today is you've written some short stories and they've been lying in your attic for the past 3 years or whatever. Like, dust off those short stories, put them all together in one file, create a nice little cover for it, and just use that as your reader magnet because that's what you have today. And you can get started with enticing people to get on your mailing list with that. Then do that. Or if you have already published book 1 in your series, you could just take the first 3 chapters out of that book and use that sample as your reader magnet so people can sign up to your mailing list, and they'll get the first 3 chapters of book 1. Now, these other things tend to be less effective for upselling or enticing readers to get onto your mailing list. So I recommend at some point down the line, you add a prequel as a reader magnet. You can have multiple reader magnets. There's no limit. You can have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 reader magnets because you never know what's going to catch someone's eye.
Can you do that in StoryOrigin on your website there? Have multiple reader magnets?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just go back to sharing real quick.
Yeah, go
Uh,
for it.
so this is again the website I built with StoryOrigin. So here's my reader magnet here. And then here is a book collection. So this is my Sherlock Holmes book series. And I've got my reader magnet here as well. And then I've got links for you can buy these books directly from me. And these just all open up directly on their own pages. You could have a book collection like this that just has reader magnet. They don't need to be direct sales pages like I have here, or in this case, these are universal book links for where you can buy the book at various retailers. You don't have to do that. You could have a book collection with just a bunch of different reader magnets to see what might entice someone to get onto your mailing list. And then down
Cool.
here is the little bio where you've got your nice little profile picture, your nice little about section, and then where they might follow you on social media or review platforms.
And I'm assuming you have different color schemes and maybe even different templates for this website.
So pretty much everything is auto laid out. So I don't want to do things too quickly. I'm here on my custom links tab here on my dashboard. I'll go over to my edit homepage button, and then I can choose a totally different brand color. Let's say I want to go with something like more red. And then if I just save that and I go back to my website and I refresh it, it's a monochromatic theme based off that individual color that you selected. So you don't need to this is the part where you're like when you're building stuff with WordPress or Wix or Squarespace or whatever, and you're like, okay, now I have to create like a color palette, and I'm not like a very visual person. I don't really, I'm not good at
Yeah.
mixing colors together. I write stories, and that's what I do.
Like simplicity is best. Like just not giving a lot of options just makes it so easy. I actually love that. That is so much better.
Absolutely. So you can build your website with storage in all of about 2 seconds. Like
Yeah,
it
I love that.
really is a
That's what I'm
very
looking for,
simple
honestly.
process.
Yeah,
It
I love that.
really is a very simple process. And if I go back over here, let's say that let's say I don't want to have this reader magnet as like on my at the top of my page or whatever. I would just delete that segment and I can just refresh the page and you'll see it's no longer the top segment. Now the top segment is my book series here. And then I've got the other book series and then my bio. Now if I want to add it back, I would just go here, add my book, and then I want to add my reader magnet. And I'd hit add, and let's put this back at the top of the page. So I'll put it back in position 1, and I'll refresh the page here. And now it's back. It's one of these things where if you authors that I talk to that have built their websites with other platforms, they get anxious about adding like publishing books because they're like, oh, now I have to I have to rehire my website guy
Uh,
to put my new book on my website. He's got to build a page for it. It's going to cost me money. It's going to take a lot of time. Either way you're dealing with a lot of time or a lot of money potentially every time you publish a book. StoryOrigin, it's like you create a universal book link for your book that you just published, which is literally a matter of uploading your book cover and then adding like the Amazon link or whatever other retailers where you have the book available for sale, hitting
yeah,
create, that page is created, right? And then you just add that to one of your book collections and now it's on your website, right? Or you can have it be an individual segment on your website. It's all very, very straightforward.
yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
you don't need to worry so much about the time and expense of building an author website.
I know what I'm going to be doing this weekend. I'm going to build my own website finally. I'm super excited about this, honestly.
I didn't realize I would be selling you on building your website with StoryOrigin, Cameron, but I'm very glad to hear it. I'm gonna now when I see you at the next conference, I'm gonna be like, hey,
Yeah.
everybody, this
Hey,
guy.
yeah, yeah. First, you gotta, did you do it? Did you do your homework? And
Yeah.
then, yeah, just tell everybody this guy's good. So once they've built a site super easily on StoryOrigin and they have a reader magnet, what then? Like, how are people going to find them?
Yeah, so it is this thing where you're like, okay, I've got a reader magnet, so I can entice people to my mailing list, but how are people going to actually find that page? So there are a few places I recommend putting the links to that reader magnet. Put it in the backs of your book. So that's one that I already mentioned. If you are selling a series on Amazon or wherever else have you, put the link for that reader magnet at the end of your book one so that readers can see, oh, I really love this book. Want to explore these characters in this universe in more depth. Yeah, I'd love to get the prequel to it. And so they'll sign up to your mailing list to get that prequel. The other places you can put social media, of course, just add it as like the pinned post on your Facebook page profile or whatever social media platforms that you prefer. And then the other great way to get that reader magnet be more visible is by cross promoting it with other authors. So there are two kinds of cross promotions that you might do as an author. One is called a newsletter swap, which is where I'll agree to promote one of my books in, or where we'll agree you'll promote one of my books in your newsletter, and then I'll promote one of your books in my newsletter. And so
Gotcha.
we're promoting each other's books. And so you might have a mailing list with, say, 20 or 30 people. Maybe I've got a mailing list with 20 or 30 people. And then we're helping each other build each other's mailing lists by you share my reader magnet with your audience. And so some of your readers will come to get that, and then they'll sign up to my mailing list. And likewise, some of my readers will see your reader magnet and they'll sign up to your mailing list that way as well. And then the second type of promotion, cross promotion, is called a group promotion. That's where you, me, and let's say 20 other authors in our genre will all list our books, we'll all list our reader magnets on a single landing page, and then we'll all promote that single landing page in our newsletters. And so we will all drive traffic to our 20 different reader magnets. And so that is a great enticement to readers as well. When I've got a link in my newsletter that says, hey, do you want to get 20 books for free, right? They can go check out all those reader magnets there. Those
Yeah.
cross promotions, they don't have to be for reader magnets. It can vary depending on whatever your goals are.
Okay.
So you can do those cross promotions. You can do those newsletter swaps or group promos. They can be for your reader magnets, or they can be for your universal book links where you're sending readers to the retailers where your book is available for sale, or they can be for your review copies where readers can request a free review copy when they say that they're planning to leave a review for it across Amazon or Goodreads or
Oh,
BookBub, etc. So those cross promotions can be used for any one of those sorts of goals. And those one of the questions I usually get about those kinds of cross promotions is, I don't have anybody on my mailing list. Like, why would anyone want to do a newsletter swap with me or do a group, or like, why would anyone want to let me into their group promo?
yeah.
And there's a couple different reasons. So one is that many authors on StoryOrigin have started with 0 subscribers and joined StoryOrigin and started arranging newsletter swaps, and other authors were nice enough to accept them for newsletter swaps and group promos, etc., even when they had nobody on their mailing list. And so now that they have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people on their mailing list, they are still happy to accept requests from other authors that have 0 subscribers on their mailing list, because that's where they started out. And then the second thing is, there's really 2 parts to a newsletter. So with every newsletter that I send, there's always 2 parts. One part is I'm trying to build rapport with my audience. And so I will usually have, for example, like a picture of me out walking my dog, or a picture of like me and my son at the park, or just stuff from my daily life. It doesn't need to be particularly fun or particularly interesting or whatever. It's just, I'm just a human, and this is just what my life is like, and building that connection with other people to show what your life is. Now, I will include like pictures that I think are funny in there. Like, I bought what I thought was 1 bottle of soy sauce, and because the product image on Walmart.com was a single bottle of soy sauce, little did I little did I know it was actually 6 bottles of soy sauce, because in the product description it was like, this is 6 bottles of soy sauce, but I just looked at the picture.
Right.
And of course I ordered 2, because I'm like, I need 2 bottles. So I ended up with 12 bottles of soy sauce.
So you add those kind of things to your newsletter.
Yeah, yeah. And then so I'm like, here's me holding my 12 bottles of soy sauce, right? I'll put that picture in my newsletter
Like your six
because I think
packs.
it's funny. But yeah, again, like it doesn't, you don't always have to have something funny like that. Again, it's just
Yeah.
here's a picture of me walking my dog or whatever. I'll do that kind of stuff all the time too. Just like you're trying to build that connection with people. And then the second part of the newsletter. Okay, so I talked about two parts. One part is the building rapport. The other part is providing value, right? If I always sent out a newsletter every week or every month that just had a picture of me walking my dog, you would unsubscribe.
Right.
Doesn't really matter how cute my dog is, right? You're not subscribed to the Story Origin newsletter to get pictures of dogs, right? And you're not subscribed, readers aren't subscribed to authors' newsletters to get pictures of dogs, right? Now that's super helpful for building a connection with your audience, but at the end of the day, the other really important part is providing value to your audience, right? And so the best way that you can provide value to your audience is by sharing other books that they might be interested in reading, because we're talking about readers here, right? And
Yeah.
what provides value to them is they're currently reading a book and they're not sure what their next read is going to be. And hey, here's 20 free books that I might be interested in checking out that are also sci-fi or romance or fantasy or mystery or thriller, etc. Here's 20 other books in the genre that I might be interested in that I can get for free. Yeah, I'm going to open and click every single one of your newsletters when I know that you're going to have potentially interesting books that I can check out. Now, they don't always need to be free. A lot of readers just want to know what's new and what's out there and what other books are in this genre.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, and so, yeah, it could be for those universal book links that send readers to the retailers where your book is available. Or if you're in Kindle Unlimited, you might run a Kindle Unlimited group promo. So those readers can get those books for free because they're already they're already paying for KU. And so they can just start reading them.
Yeah.
So you can run those kinds of cross promotions. So those cross promotions are super valuable to your newsletter because they give your readers a reason to keep opening and clicking on your emails. And yeah, there are lots of authors who have gotten started with 0 subscribers on their mailing list, and other authors will agree to promote them because even when you've got 5,000 people on your mailing list, if again, you can't just only be sending pictures of your dog, right? You want to be providing that value for your readers. And so you're always looking for what's new and interesting to share. And so just arranging those cross promotions, agreeing to promote a book from another author, even if they've got 0 people on your mailing list, still provides you value when you have 5,000 subscribers. They might not be sending you any traffic, but it provides value to you because
Yeah.
it can provide value to your readers and gives
To
them a
readers.
reason to keep
Interesting.
opening and clicking on your emails.
That's super
So
interesting.
still super valuable to arrange those cross promotions. So even the altruistic, I'm helping another author out because because someone else helped me out, that's not really the only reason. But still even provides value to those authors that are already have 5,000 or whatever
Yeah, yeah, for
on
sure.
this. And
Interesting.
I'll do a quick screen share again just to give you a few quotes. So I'm going to go here I'm here on Story Origin. I'm just going to hit the top left here. Here's all the Story Origin features and stuff. And if you click any one of these, you can go and you can learn more about that particular feature. So here we're talking about building your author email list. So I'm going to hit read more. I'll scroll down. Here's some of the things that, come with that feature. And here are some quotes from some other authors. So Amanda said, I grew my email list from 0 to 1,000 subscribers in the first year. Len said, I was able to grow my mailing list to 1,200 subscribers in 18 newsletter issues. Ellen said she got over 400 subscribers in 1 month. Bella said she grew her mailing list from 0 people to over 4,000 people. MC went from 3,000 to 12,000. Stephen went from 0 to over 1,000. So when I
Yeah.
talk about these authors who are arranging newsletter swaps and they've got 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people on their mailing list, and they'll still agree to newsletter swaps with other authors because they have 0 people, because they started with 0 people on their mailing list when they got on Story Origin first. That's not me making stuff up. These are stories from
Real people.
authors.
Yeah.
Um, in that is just how it really works.
Yeah.
The community is just generally very open. Now, that's not to say that every author on StoryOrigin is going to accept a newsletter swap with you if you've got 0 people on your mailing list. But
Sure.
generally, the spirit of the community is helping other authors out, helping them up in the ladder as well.
Yeah, that's
Or
so
that
awesome.
rising tide lifts all the boats
Yeah.
philosophy.
So I was thinking there's a few questions that are in the chat here, and I was thinking maybe we could answer some of those, and then there's a couple more questions that I have for you that we can get into. So one of them just is really quick. Is your that demo site of Sherlock Holmes, is that available somewhere on the internet? Somebody said it looks like they tried to go there and it wasn't working.
Yeah, they might have used it's not, they need it, browsers nowadays, they don't show the www in front of things.
Ah, okay. So you need the W. So
They,
Tim, you need the
yeah,
www in front of
yeah.
that.
I'll paste that in the chat. But yeah, it's www.readsherlockholmes.com. And I just haven't, with the demo site, I could go to, so I bought the domain for this website on Namecheap. I could create a redirect for that Apex domain, readsherlockholmes.com, without the subdomain and point it to my www domain,
Yeah,
subdomain, but I have not done that. But yeah, you could do that too, where if you've got it on a subdomain, you can point that Apex domain without any subdomain on it,
without any.
create
Yeah,
that
right on.
redirect so it goes there.
Yeah, you're
Um,
living in the past, Evan. Nobody
yeah.
uses www anymore. No, I'm just messing with. Okay, so another question here. So build audience first or publish first? So what any views or advice from your users or from you, what you've seen, should they publish first or start working on the audience?
Absolutely recommended. If possible, start building your mailing list before you even publish book one, right? So if you know you're going to be writing a series of books, write that prequel ahead of time and start promoting that reader magnet and getting people onto your mailing list. And then that way, when you're 6 weeks out from launching book one, you can create a review copy of that book, put that up on StoryOrigin, and send that link to your review copy out to your mailing list audience. And people can request that review copy from you and say where they're going to leave a review, whether that's Amazon or Goodreads or BookBub, etc. And so when they request that review copy from you, they'll get a free copy if you approve them for it. So if they say they're going to leave a review on Amazon or Goodreads or BookBub, and StoryOrigin will give you the links to their reviewer profiles as well. So you can look and see, okay, I write steamy romance, and I'm looking at this person's Amazon reviewer profile, and they've only ever posted reviews of cozy romance novels. Maybe I don't want to give this person my free review copy and have them feel like they should be leaving a review for something that I think that they're not going to like necessarily, right? So you can vet those review copy requests and approve just the readers that you want to have that book that you think would be good reviewers for that book.
Nice.
And so if you've started to build your mailing list, you let's say you write that prequel short story, and 6 months ahead of your publication of book one, you start building that mailing list. By the time you get to like sort of 6 weeks ahead of the publication date, you might have 300, 400, 1,000 people on your mailing list, depending on how diligent you are being in
Yeah.
joining those cross promotions and arranging those cross promotions. You might have 1,000 people on your mailing list, and you can find those people who are going to be your champions for you and see who might want to get a free review copy. And then that way, when you go to publish the book on day one, you might have 10, 12, 15 reviews published day one of that book. And then you can start to arrange some other promos for that book, and your ads become a lot more valuable because when you when you're throwing ads or traffic at that page on Amazon or wherever else that you've got it published, if there's 0 reviews on it, your conversion rate is going to be quite low because readers are going to come, they're going to look at the book cover. Oh, this is a great book cover. I love it. They're going to read the description. This sounds really enticing. Then they're going to look at the review section and see 0 reviews. And they're going to be like, do I want to be the first person to try this book out when they can find another book in the same genre that's got 15, 20 reviews on it that looks good and has that sort of social proof? Right? So building up that social proof is incredibly valuable because that's one of the top 3 sections that most people look to first when they're looking at that product page for your book, right?
So there's a question here in the chat that actually
Yeah.
dovetails with that really well. Does it make sense to pay a celebrity to leave a review and stick it to the cover, or I guess that first review on Amazon?
So you can pay for reviews through certain services. That's not how StoryOrigin's review copies feature works. StoryOrigin's review copy feature works by you put a book up for free. People can request a copy of that free book. You get to vet their reviewer profiles, see what their completion stats are for review copies, and then you can individually approve or decline each one of those requests you get for that free copy. And if you approve that request, then they can download it and they'll read it, and then they would be able to leave that review on Amazon or Goodreads or BookBub, etc. You have not paid them, they have not paid you. So it's totally fine for them to leave that review on whatever platforms it's on. If you are paying for reviews, you cannot pay people to post reviews on Goodreads or BookBub, on Amazon, etc. Those are breaking the terms of service for those various review platforms. You can pay a celebrity to read your book, but they would not be posting that review in under like the Amazon reviews section. You could put that review like in the description section of your book,
Okay.
or you could put it on the cover of your book,
Yeah,
but it
so that
wouldn't
was the
actually end
question.
up in the review section of that. Yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
just want to
so
make clear on that.
yeah, that's a
Um,
good. I'm glad you cleared that up. Do you think it's valuable to pay somebody to put it on the cover or something like that?
I
Or do you have any experience with,
Potentially, I don't
depending
have,
on how big the
I
celebrity
don't,
is,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. It's so incredibly variable. Now, if you have the connections and you can pay Oprah $5 to write a review and you can put that review on your book, then yeah, go for it.
Def-
That's Oprah. But it's gonna be highly specific to what your genre is. Like now, I read mostly lit RPG. If I saw a review from Oprah on a lit RPG book, I'd be like, what even is this?
Yeah, that probably wouldn't help very
Right
much.
now, I usually associate Oprah with more like memoir books and stuff like that, where that could be hugely valuable and definitely appropriate. So yeah, it's all going to depend on who the celebrity is, what genre you write, all of that stuff. So I
Yeah.
won't I will never say never, right? There's definitely certain things that can be valuable in the right context. Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's outright just not a good idea. But yeah, I would be wary of spending too much time, money, or effort on trying to get a review from a celebrity or something along those lines. Generally speaking, again, like readers, they're not looking to reviews on the they're not looking to reviews on the back cover of the book, or looking to the reviews in the description. They're looking at the reviews section on Amazon or Goodreads or BookBub, right? And
Yeah, and
so they
when you look at the cover of a book, that review have to be pretty big to stand out, and it'd have to be
right,
really
and
short, So yeah.
usually those kinds of editorial reviews, so when you pay for a review like that, or you get a review from a friend that you gave the book to or whatever, um those are called editorial reviews usually when you're paying for them. Those usually end up on the back cover, so they're not even going to be seen when a reader is just looking at usually just the front book cover image and then just the description, etc. So yeah.
Okay, other question in the chat here. How do authors find your promotions in order to submit them? And I'm guessing, meaning like those cross promotions, those newsletter swaps, how do authors find them?
Yeah, so I'll go back here to my StoryOrigin dashboard. So again, I'll just hit the top, go to for authors, and then you can, under this, on the home tab on your dashboard, you can browse newsletters or browse group promos. So if we go to browse newsletters, here's the dates that other authors are sending out their newsletters. So these are just all newsletters that are going out today. And you can see this list this is a long list. There's a lot of authors on StoryOrigin. So you can see what dates those authors are sending their newsletters. You can see what the size of their mailing list is, what their open rate and click rate is, and then what tags, what genres they write in. So if I said I wanted to look for other romance authors, I can narrow this down with romance. Let's say I want to look for specifically like cozy romance authors. So these are the dates these other authors use the tag cozy romance, and these are the dates that their newsletters are going out. And then I could click on that And then I would say, so their newsletter is going out on September 6th, 26th. I'd say my newsletter is going out on October 1st or something of the sort. And then, yeah, I'll promote one of your books. You would select the drop down list of which books they're looking to promote. And then you would select from your pages on your StoryOrigin account which one of your pages you'd like for them to promote, whether that's your reader magnet or review copy or universal book link, etc. And then you can also go to group promos. So these are the ones again with it's a you and 20 other authors all list your books on a single landing page. So let's say like I want to do a fantasy book or some fantasy books, right? Now, if you're trying to build your mailing list, the type of group promotion that you would want to join is the giveaway group promotions. So these giveaway group promotions are the ones where you are submitting a reader magnet. So every book in this group promotion is going to be a reader magnet. It says here, group promotion type, giveaway, grow your mailing list by submitting a reader magnet to this group promo. Apply to the group promo. Select your author profile, select the book that you want to add to the group promo, and then you can add a message for the promo organizer. And then you would say what date you're planning on sending your newsletter out. So I could say, I'm going to put it into my October 2nd newsletter. And this is, again, this very similar process for like when you're arranging a newsletter swap is like you're selecting the date you're planning on sending out your newsletter and you select which book you want them to promote and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes it
Not
super easy.
not actually going to apply, but we can preview here. So this is the group promo landing page. So here's a little banner image. This is usually what I would take. I would take this banner image and I'd drop that into my newsletter, and then I would embed the link that I get for this group promo and into that image on my email service provider when I'm designing and sending my newsletter. So here's the other books. Again, so all these authors that are part of this group promo are all directing their traffic to this single landing page. And these are all reader magnets. So every author in this group promo is enticing readers to get their free stories and sign up to their mailing list. And so this is a great way to start building your mailing list is by joining these giveaway type group promos.
Yeah, I'm honestly super excited about this. Like I've been trying to okay, this is a little autobiographical here, but I was planning on, so since I finally started to get back into writing, so I made this tool for writers, right? And now I don't write as much, but I'm trying to get back
I
into,
don't know what that story is like at all.
I'm sure, but this year I've got this story I'm working on finally. And so I'm like, okay, I got to get back into the marketing. I got to set up all these things. And I was feeling a little overwhelmed, but after listening to you for this hour, I'm super excited and I'm like, I can do this. I can build my emailing list. I can do this. So if for nothing else, thank you so much for this hour. This has
Yeah.
been amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And I will mention, so where are you in your book? Are you finishing the outline? Do you have the outline for it done and you're currently working on writing it now?
Yeah, so I think I've written a couple chapters, but then I went back to the drawing board. And so yeah, let's say I'm done with
Yeah.
the outline. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm gonna throw one more thing at you because this is something that you usually don't expect from StoryOrigin, but StoryOrigin is here to kill spreadsheets. So here's all these features, right? I'd check out the word count tracker and writing planner. So you can set up like a word count goal, and then StoryOrigin will tell you how many words you need to write every single day in order to hit that goal. So if I set a goal of 50,000 words, and StoryOrigin will calculate how many words I need to write every single day to hit whatever target date I planned on finishing the book. So if you're saying, hey, Cameron, you gotta finish this book by the end of the year. That's what your target date is. And it's gonna be 50,000 words or 100,000 words. StoryOrigin will tell you, here's how many words you need to write every single day to hit that target. And then this graph down here, so this is like the daily count you get, and then this is the progress towards your goal. And so this is like the sort of cumulative count, and then this is how many the green line is how many you need to write every day to hit that goal.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of authors have found to be significantly more productive. Sherry here, 45 plus books that have met their publishing deadlines due to StoryOrigin's word count tracker. She's written
nice.
over 3 million words. Alicia said, I used this feature last year to push myself and nearly hit 7,000 words written. Bill, Bill said, I thought word count tracking was the dumbest idea ever until I used StoryOrigin's goal tracker feature. 3 books and over 200,000 words later, I'm counting the words I need to eat too. Yeah, it's even with if you're not ready to publish or market something or you don't have a reader magnet or whatever, you're just like just getting started at the beginning of your author journey, check out that goal trackers feature because that can help you get motivated. A lot of authors, when I built that feature, they were like, "Oh, this is not something I was expecting from StoryOrigin because I always thought of it as more of a marketing thing." And I'm like, "No, I'm here to kill spreadsheets. That's the thing." Because a lot of authors have Excel spreadsheets where they're tracking their word count and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily easy to keep those spreadsheets updated. And yeah, it's a good motivator authors have found because if you skip a day, oh, I was supposed to write 1,000 words yesterday. StoryOrigin will now it recalculates your daily total that you need to hit. So if you skipped yesterday, you didn't write those 1,000 words, well, your daily goal just bumped up a little bit because
Uh,
now you got to spread those 1,000 words out over from now to the deadline. So every
made a
day
lot
that
of
you
sense.
every day that you're skipped, your daily goal is going to get just a little bit higher. And so it's that sort of great motivator where it's like, oh, I gotta stay on top of it. Yeah.
And every day you write more than necessary, your daily word
Yeah,
count
yeah,
probably
yeah.
goes down a little bit.
Yeah,
Nice.
super motivating. Yeah.
Yeah. So another question here for you. Are there companion phone apps for Story Origin?
So StoryOrigin is just the website only, so storyoriginapp.com, and then it's mobile friendly, so you can use it on your phone if you want to, or on desktop. There's no downloadable app with it though.
Right on. Cool. Cool. It has been an hour and I want to respect people's time. So if there's any last minute questions in the chat, put them in now. Say your piece before we sign off. Um,
And I will also say, anyone that has any questions or thinks of something later and man, I really wish I had asked Evan that. You can always go to just the storyoriginapp.com. And if you just scroll to the bottom of the homepage, you'll see my face, you'll see my name, you'll see my email address. You can just shoot me an email. My inbox is always open, or you can hit that contact link in the footer. Again, see my face, my name, my email address there. You're always welcome to shoot me an email, and my inbox is always open. I respond to all of my emails, and many authors can attest to the fact that I do answer all of my emails. So yeah, if you have anything later, just send it my way.
That is great. Thank you, Evan. And so let's see. Okay, yeah, I was going to ask you where can people get in touch? I want to make sure I asked that
Yeah.
before I signed off. Looks like you already answered that. Thanks so much, Evan. And looks like there's just a few people saying thank you. Okay, I was looking for last minute questions, but yep, just thanks, Evan, for your time. Really appreciate it. You've been awesome. And see you later, everybody.